All right, so everyone, I want to welcome you to this Public Speakers Association May Virtual Summit. And we're going to go ahead and get started with our first speaker. So I want to introduce Joanne A.J. Scott. And she will be, the title of her talk is 4 Tips on How to Build Wealth as a Philanthropist, a Mother and Daughter Perspective. So during this amazing month, mothers are celebrated for the contribution they add to the world. Her topic will focus on how mothers and daughters are building strong businesses together, and they continue to give back to the world as philanthropists. So let's turn the time over to Joanne A.J. Scott and give her a round welcome and round applause.
Thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate the opportunity of being here to share these wonderful tips on how to build wealth as a philanthropist. As you stated, my name is Dr. Joanne A.J. Scott. I am the founder, CEO. I say I'm actually the Chief Philanthropic Officer and President of Essence of a Lady Incorporated. And today I want to talk to you about the importance of becoming a philanthropist, number one, and how you can build wealth as a philanthropist. And today, right now, I want to start out by just telling you a little bit about myself. Who am I? Well, I am an award-winning educator, been in education for over 23 years in public school setting. I retired, and now I am a professor at Juliana King University teaching doctoral writing, and I also teach public speaking. And I am an entrepreneur. For over 40 years, I've had businesses in different capacities and had a successful career helping people market and promote products and services through different industries. I am also an renowned international empowerment speaker. I have gone on a 10-city tour. I have throughout the country. Back in 2013, in 2019, I was also international as one of the MCs for the Public Speakers Conference in London, England. Now, let's get started here. Let's talk about the 4 tips of building your brand. Now, one thing that I've discovered, and the reason that Essence of a Lady has been around for over 32 years, in fact, this Saturday will be exactly 32 years that Essence of a Lady has been around. The most important thing that I learned is being consistent in marketing and promoting your services and your product, even if it's a nonprofit like Essence of a Lady, because people need to see you out there. They need to know that you're not some fly-by-nighter. So building your brand requires time, consistency, and effort. You want to build your brand, but not just build your brand. You want to build your brand by marketing and promoting your products and services to your target audience. Now, sometimes that could be a little difficult, but you have to decide, number one, who is your targeted audience? You know, I discovered a long time ago that one thing that I was very passionate about was girls and women. First of all, I know girls. I was a girl. And second, I know women because I've spent most of my life in different organizations, associations, and business networking groups. And I've spent a lot of time with women, helping them build their businesses, helping them build self-esteem, helping them stay motivated, helping them learn how to tackle things in life. So I knew that my target audience was mothers and daughters because I have 2 daughters. So who would know better about mothers and daughters than myself? You know, I have a 37-year-old daughter. She'll be 38 this year. And I also have a 31-year-old daughter. So I know mothers and daughters. So that became my target audience. So everything I did, whether it was personal or professional, I made sure that I tie in what I do to connect with mothers and daughters. So marketing and promotion is a very important part of building your brand. And of course, when social media came around, I spent since 2009, I've been on Facebook, Instagram, when it came out, and then LinkedIn. So I'm known on those platforms quite well. Plus, I participate in conversations on Twitter, and I discovered which one worked best for which situation. So make sure you understand that you have to build your brand. And building your brand is not some overnight thing. This building your brand process requires you to invest not just days, not just months, but years to create the image that you want people to know you from. Now, the second thing is to build your community. Building your community is very important because your community is what helps you grow. Your community are your partnerships, your supporters, your clients. That's what community is all about. Back in 1993, when we had our first ladies only conference, we were able to bring for-profit and nonprofits together. Over 15 companies came together in our three rooms that we had: inner beauty, outer beauty, and finances. And that's what we're about, because through Essence of a Lady, our mission is to help women and girls gain maximum health and wealth. So we started with that through our conference. Then we also, since 2012, we have the Females Are Fabulous Empowerment Conference every other year. And we have our Mother and Daughter Tea the year that we don't have our Females Are Fabulous. But each allows mothers and daughters, grandmothers and granddaughters, nieces and aunties, mentors and mentees to come together to celebrate being females by listening to speakers from around the country and the world talk and give their knowledge, experience, and expertise to each other and to girls. So building a community is very important, and that's through the partnerships that you build. Number 3, you want to be committed. Like I say, consistency is the key. You know, even in your most difficult times when it seems like nothing is working, if you stay consistent, guess what? You don't have to go to the world. The world starts coming to you. You know, right now we get girls coming into our mentoring programs through our emails, because our website have been out there since over 11 years, since 2010. We've connected magnificently with national, local, and state organizations that send us people who want support. So build. Now, the last thing that I will mention to you is to be specific. I've already spoken on that. Our Essence of a Lady focuses in on women and girls. We've done that for over 32 years through supporting through our mission to educate, mentor, and empower girls through the philanthropy of women. We also launched our male mentoring component to our business to model what we've done for 32 years for girls and women through our Why Me, Young Men Empowered, and our male coming in under the Men Empowerment Network. They will be the mentors to the boys. And we're having our first mentor-mentee match being demonstrated this Saturday at our 32nd anniversary event, A Mother and Daughter Tea, the business of women, spotlighting mothers and daughters in business together. That's this Saturday. I know that my time is out, so I'm gonna wrap this thing right on up, but I just wanna say to you, the most important thing, if you get nothing else from this conversation, what I want you to understand is this: we will not be remembered by the cars we drive, the house we live in, the clothes we wear. We will be remembered by what we have done for others. And that's why it's very important, no matter what kind of business you have, it's very important for you to leverage that business as a philanthropist, because guess what? You will build unspeakable wealth because of it. Thank you so much. Again, this is Dr. Joanne A.J. Scott, founder, chief philanthropic officer, and president of Essence of a Lady Incorporated. If you want to be a part of our event, even as an attendee this weekend, go to www.eladies.org. It's going to be live in Jacksonville, Florida, and it's going to be virtual everywhere else. Thank you for your time. Have a fantastic and amazingly fabulous day.
All right, Joanne, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Joanne? And one other thing, if could you put that link in the chat so that everyone could have that, because it's pretty hard to.
I will do that.
To remember those.
No problem. That is our website. It's in the chat room. And thank you so much, Nadia. You have 2 daughters. So yes, it's nothing like daughters. And when a mother and daughter can come together and actually work together, that in itself is amazing. My daughters gave me the first Fabulous Female Award in 2012 at our first Females of Fabulous conference. And it meant so much to me because our children don't always tell us how they feel. Hi, Jill. I haven't seen you in a very long time since the Public Speakers Conference in, I believe that was that San Antonio? I believe so. But our children will not always tell us what they think about us, but they'll tell others. And my daughter surprised me at our first Females of Fabulous Empowerment Conference back in 2012 with the very first Fabulous Female Award. They called me a visionary, and I did not realize they saw me like that, but I really appreciated it and let me know that they appreciated all the things that I had done for them over the years and demonstrated to them the importance of a high self-esteem, the importance of having resilience and tenacity, the importance of giving without expecting anything in return, because God will bless us 100-fold when we do that. So any questions, comments, opportunities?
All right, Joanne. Actually, your time is up, and we need to move on. So
thank you,
once
guys.
again,
Have a
thank
great
you.
one.
All right, so let's switch to our next speaker. And so coming up, we have Jill Lublin, and she's going to be speaking about how to make your publicity all about them. So if you want to be the number one influencer in your industry, you've got to get bigger media visibility. Based on her international bestseller, Guerrilla Publicity, Jill shares simple strategies to help you go from unknown to newsworthy, sharing her proven secrets to understanding what the media wants. Jill provides you with short-term, doable tactics that boost visibility for you and your brand. Now more than ever, it's important to stretch your message so that your visibility factor stays constant. Join publicity expert Jill Lublin as she shares new powerful tips and strategies to shine your light and your message now and no matter what. So let's turn the time over to Jill. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here and with friends, old and new. So I want to talk to you today about publicity. And we have got 10 minutes, correct, Brian?
Yes, 10 minutes.
Perfect.
And then we'll have time for questions.
Perfect. So, you know, I can do 10 minutes like nobody's business because I'm trained in media. And this is the thing, my friends, for you, what I'm going to recommend is that you get so clear about your message that you're able to bring it down and make it simple. I mean, simple, so that anyone can understand it. And part of the way to do that is do it in 5-year-old language, 5-year-old language. Now, I want you to be the star. Look at the screen, the star that you are. You take on this star today. In fact, everyone touch yourself in the middle of your forehead, please. I can see you. And give yourself a star. It's kind of like giving yourself a standing ovation. Every speaker deserves one. You are all stars in the industry. And I want you to shake, rattle, and roll. Come on, let's shake, rattle, roll. Let me see ya. Shake, rattle, and roll. Thank you. Because what I'm going to teach you is how to blow your own horn, even when you feel like it's a kazoo. Sometimes, do you feel like a kazoo? Come on, tell me. Yes? Yes. And I want you to be the star that you are, right? And the way to do that is to create a very powerful message. And that message is that you are an expert, and experts solve problems. So here's the formula for getting a great message that works every time in the marketplace. Are you ready? Come on, let me see. Are you ready? Yes, beautiful. Thank you. Love the highs, Doreen and Edward. Thank you. And Barney, so good to see you. So here's the thing. The power of your message is creating what the problem is, right? Now, here's what I don't want you to say, believe it or not, especially with speakers and authors. It's not about what you speak about. It's about the problem today. And sometimes what will happen is we want you to be a solution provider and not necessarily an expert even in your own domain. Now, isn't that interesting? Part of how you do that is you use everything you've got. So one of my clients right now, she's a speaker and she just spoke for Les Brown, and she's young, she's on Instagram, she's an influencer, and her part-time job is a media agency, a digital media agency. And I said to her, you're going out now for Stop Asian Hate, because she's Filipino. And that's what's getting her on tremendous amounts of media all across the country. Yes, good stuff. Use everything you've got. The women I work with, we're going out for International Women's Month. You know, I have a woman who dealt with breast cancer. We're getting her ready for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, even though she coaches and speaks about something else entirely. Because what every media does is it drives clients to you. It drives prospects to you. It drives meeting planners to you. It drives speaking engagements to you. Because what happens is that you're creating familiarity and trust in the marketplace. And trust is key, my friends, these days. People got to know you and even fall in love with you to start booking you as a speaker, to start booking you to help them. And of course, as a speaker, I want you to have multiple ways to help people. Like I speak, I have a virtual publicity course, I have another training, look at multiple ways to serve people. I think that's really a key. So you are experts, you're solving problems, you're giving 3 solutions. Now I'm gonna demonstrate this for you. By the way, also as speakers, I'm looking around the Zoom and I don't necessarily see any evidence of you speaking. So, even if you have to mock it up, get a banner and put yourself in a speaking position. That alone would make a huge difference to give you a right way for people to perceive you. You can do it as a virtual background, but I also prefer like a live banner. Notice my books are all behind me. And so I think that that's what's really a key, is creating that visibility factor that keeps you constantly in people's minds and consciousness. All right, here comes my script, and I'm also about to give you thousands of dollars of PR advice inside of this message. Right now, here's the other thing. I want you to give appetizers, not full meals. Okay, so here it comes. The problem today is 4 out of 5 businesses will go out of business because you have no clue how to create publicity without spending a fortune. I want to give you 3 guerrilla publicity tips today for how to get your message in the media. The first way to get noticed is to create your ooh, ah factor. The second way is to create the I've heard of you somewhere syndrome. And the third way is focus on networking magic and show up in your communities at least twice a month for name and face recognition. And that, my friends, is my message. I hope you are taking notes, because therein lies thousands of dollars of PR advice. Appetizers, not full meals. That's what I want you to think about. Sound bites. You notice it was delivered in sound bites. Your ooh, ah factor. And the other thing I did was I used every book title in it. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. Most people never even realize that. I said I'm going to give you 3. Check this out. Guerrilla publicity tips today. Yes. And then I name the books, not in full form. You don't have to. Now, here's the thing. If you don't have a book, doesn't matter. Let's use, and in fact, I would like you to use parts of your speech, meaning the name of your speech or something you talk about in your speech. So use that as part of this piece of it, and that will really support you. Now, here's the other thing. I want you to go to nationaldaycalendar.com, write that down, nationaldaycalendar.com, and look up a holiday that would be relevant for you. So, for instance, when I wrote The Profit of Kindness, I found out from nationaldaycalendar.com that November 13th is World Kindness Day. Isn't that interesting? So, of course, we're going to orient things toward World Kindness Day. We actually do a kindness summit, and 120 people were on it last year. We're aiming to double it this year. And in fact, I'm going to post in the chat an opportunity to come to my free kindness circles, as well as my free publicity masterclass. That'll go in the chat in just a moment. So what I want to tell you is that tons of publicity has come because we oriented around a holiday, as opposed to, hey, Jill's got a new book out, or you've got a new speech. That's never the story. The story is about your powerful message that helps others. That's what I want you to always orient toward. The other thing as speakers is I absolutely go to Google Alerts and get your name in there so that whenever you're speaking and somebody puts out an announcement about it, guess what happens? You'll pop up. Google will find you. That's beautiful for your rankings. And so I definitely want you on that. And also put one word about what you speak about. And that will be helpful too. So mine might be PR, right? Kindness because of the book coming out. That'll help you a lot. Google Alerts. And then we've got you on helpareporter.com. Another free resource that completely shows you what reporters are writing about right now. And that'll make a huge difference for you, so that you see who's writing about what and what can be connected to, so that your message gets out there. Because here's the thing, your message matters. You're a speaker. I know you have the heart to help others. I know that you want in your speaking to support and serve others. And the way to do that simply, easily, effectively, and without spending a fortune is to create powerful publicity through visibility building activities like the ones I've given you, most of which are free. And think about an hour a week, getting it out there, putting your name out there, and creating that "I've heard of you somewhere" syndrome. Now, what I'd love to do is open it up for a Q&A. Let's see how I can help you and support you with what your message is or what questions you might have. Who's got questions? Hopefully I have answers.
Jill, it's nice to see you. Barney Kramer here, and you have a wealth of answers, and I deeply appreciate what you share. I love the fact of the simplicity. I've done this for 6 or 7 years. What would be the first tip that you might give somebody that really nobody knows anything about and needs to be known? The message needs to get out in front of the world.
Yes. Okay. So a couple things. One is it's not necessarily about time. It's what's your message that's relevant for right now. So Barney, as I recall, don't you do either management or leadership? Is that true?
Both, yeah.
Oh,
Right.
hey,
Yeah,
see?
very good. Good memory
Thank
too.
I remember you, which is
Yeah.
good, right? That's a good
Yeah.
sign. You're creating memorability.
Right.
So, what I would do is start with what's leadership look like post-COVID? I think people are wondering about that. How do we lead a team, continue from home, from wherever you're at? So
Yeah.
I would like leadership for these times, right? We're in different times.
Yeah.
We all know that. And
Right.
this is for everybody in any area you're in. Let's talk about leadership for new times, or
Great.
fill in the blank, whatever you're talking about for new times.
Great. Nice to see you. Great. Thank you.
You're so welcome. My pleasure. Who else might have a question? Doreen, you took yourself off mute. Are you writing it or are you going to say it?
Oh, yes, sorry. I was actually printing it. Sorry. That's okay.
It's all good.
I closed my tax accounting business and I said no more 15-hour days, and changed my corporation TFG to Transformation for Growth. So I'm putting the message out that once you come and talk to me about whatever issue, I will help you grow in your area. But I think that I've probably put too broad of a spectrum out there, because as you said, be specific. I myself took my own life and started studying natural health and lost 43 inches over this past year. So I follow a healthy eating plan, and I'm able to help people that have that particular need. But I'm also writing a book on leadership because of my leadership experience. So it's a broad spectrum. So when it comes to transformation for growth, how do I say, well, let's be specific. I'm only going to help you in one area.
So, and first of all, congratulations. What a great thing to accomplish during COVID, right? Everybody else is talking about the pounds they put on. I love the fact that, you took them off. So that right there is a inspiration. Okay. So that's something. And, yes, it's about growth, and you understand growth as a former, I don't know, were you an accountant?
Former accountant. I had over 200 clients.
Wow.
Doing income tax, personal and corporate. But I don't want to sit and do the actual key punching part of it. I want to be able to either teach accounting or teach finances, because I know that a lot of young people really don't know a lot about finances when they come out of school and things like that. Or it could be even a business startup.
Beautiful.
So even though I've got a variety of things going on, how do I then put my message out there that it's specific for a specific age group, for a specific, area?
So first thing is absolutely decide on what your target market is. Let's start with one, right? Just be very specific. Maybe, from people from 50 to 60 who want new changes in their business and growth at a new stage. As a former, tax accountant with over 200 clients, I want that up, Doreen, in your bio, in your bio, okay? Because it gives you credibility. And if you have anything that you're a former, which I think most of you are, a former something, right? Put that up in your bio just because it gives that kind of powerful credibility. And then give people solutions. I'd probably recommend an article first, 500-word article, and then deciding on who your target is, and let's get them oriented, toward you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Now, this is obviously a short time, my friends. I have a free publicity masterclass. I have a fabulous virtual publicity class. I put how you can schedule a call with me. Check the chat and let's continue the conversation. I'm just so glad to be here with all of you and to remind you that your message matters. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jill. You are you're a wealth of knowledge. So it's great to have you.
Thank you.
All right. It's time to introduce our next speaker. If I can figure out how to do all the electronics here. Darn it. Now, all right. Anyway, yeah, I would think that after a year that Zoom would be easier for me than it is, but all right. So it's time to introduce our next speaker, who is Barney Kramer. Sorry. There we go. Yeah, now you should be seeing his graphic on the screen. So Barney's talk is entitled "Scaling Your Business Online." Online connections are a great way to scale your business, and he will tell you what it has done for him and share the source that he has used with you. So I'll turn the time to Barney Kramer.
Thank you, Brian. It's a delight to be here today, and particularly a delight to see a good friend from past, Jill Lublin, and I always love the message she has. And part of that has to do with the fact that she recognized the value of the simplicity on it and gets right to I call it cutting right to the chase. And she did that once again. I've been using I'm a management leader, trainer, developer, and I do a variety of different things. I have been an entrepreneur for 50 years and a leader for about 45 of those. And I got the biggest shock of my life last year when COVID just literally closed down everything. The day that they decided to close it, I was in San Francisco working with a client to help open a co-working space, and you could see it was like watching everybody exit the city on it when it was really bizarre. And my past experience was 45 years plus of bricks and mortar, and I built an 8-figure company at one time, and got into this business, and decided that I'd had enough, and that I wanted to do something different. That different was to do some management consulting. You're always consulting and working with people and doing things as a part of the business life. And so that had been mine. And when I got into technology, and talk about a challenge to it, my idea was to never send anything more than an email if I possibly could. But it became real clear back about 6 or 7 years ago, that if you were going to be in business, and you better be online. And of course, then came the real tiger that's out there. And that tiger is all about having the skills and the technology, enough of it at least, to be able to execute what we're doing. And even something as simple as this, I watched tremendously powerful organizations all of a sudden they get to reschedule. And so it's there's an innate fear of this, because you never know what's going to happen, and it's got 9 million buttons. And anyway, I don't want to get off on that technology, but it's hard for me not to respond to it. And what was interesting to me about last year, when COVID hit, and it became clear that this was going to be a completely different kind of business, the networking things that we had depended upon to build our careers, our chambers and associations and speaking events and everything. Maybe not quite as much so for me as some, but for most people, they went away. And there are some of the people that have been powerful in our industry. I don't know, Jill and like all the rest of us got clobbered in some ways. And literally some of the biggest people in the online business world were stopped in their tracks and had to find another way to go about continuing to build a business. And it's amazing to me what I thought was going to be 2 or 3 months has been this long. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background. I'll tell you what the solution is. Tanya Hoffman, who you know real well, Brian, I met her at a introduction of a friend at this little small speaking event that we were doing in San Francisco, and come to be she's one of my favorite people in this world on it. And Tanya has a heart as big as the moon, and when she says, I want to help you find the people and connect you to the people that can help you in life, she means every single word of it. So that friendship grew, and I've been a member of Public Speakers Association for now about 7 years, I think 6 or 7 years. And I very much enjoyed it. It's given me the opportunity to interact with people that I wouldn't easily have been able to find. And what particularly happened when the whole world was locked down last March on it, is everybody started scrambling for, now what am I going to do? And I got a call just a few days after that from Tanya. And Tanya said, she said, I've got this new idea. And I knew she had been working on something, but I just wasn't nosy enough to ask, I guess. And she said, I want you to talk to somebody. And so I had a gentleman by the name of Scott Schilling was the next person she put on the phone. She just listened to his idea. And so I did. And he was about halfway through, maybe a 15-minute presentation on it. I said, I'm in. And it was Be Connected. You can see that, get my head one way or the other, but that's what it was all about. And I have to tell you, it has probably been the single greatest thing that I could have ever done, and not something that I had participated, but it came as a result of the fact that I knew that I had to build this business and some of its speaking events and those kinds of things. And this was an extension of that. And so what it has done is helped me grow. And I'll tell you about the app, but it's helped me grow from a regional company with some reach, but I wasn't really looking to be a worldwide organization. Wasn't against it, but it has helped me grow from a regional or local business in the East Bay Area, in San Francisco, Northern California, and a little further than that on occasion, to where I now have contacts in business and people that genuinely want what I have to offer, and vice versa. I know where I need to go as a direct result of coming in to Be Connected on it. I have a connection that over in Ireland that has more than 1 million followers in this organization. Has been on stage with some of the largest in the business, and of course the organization itself is permeated with lots of very, very successful people whose careers, it may not have ended their career, but it certainly changed their way of doing business on it. And some of the greatest people, that you can imagine on it. And Be Connected very simply, and it's not something I'd ever thought about. I had a real disdain for Facebook and LinkedIn and all the rest of them that are out there, because I I had enough recognition that what was happening was that every time I accepted somebody's invitation, next thing you know, I had to listen to a pitch. And frankly, I didn't have the time to do that. I don't know how you can run a business and listen to everybody that wants to sell you something. And they never stop to think about flipping that whole equation upside down, saying, how can I help you? And Jill and I have a mutual, he's passed away now, but somebody that we met, somebody that we both knew in the industry, whose favorite question was, what do you need and how can I help you? And it just changes the whole dynamic. And that's a lot of what Be Connected does. So what Be Connected does, it works exactly like an eHarmony platform, where instead of connecting people that are looking for a date, it's connecting businesses who need customers and clients with other businesses that have what they need. And there's just this wonderful exchange, and it has a rating system in it too. And the rating system, basically, the whole idea is there's not going to be any spamming in this. And the organization now has grown with some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. We are in 50-something countries already. Just recently brought in a new one that has over 1 billion people in the organization. We found a way to help associations and nonprofits grow, and it all starts with that concept. So when you come in to Be Connected, it's a connection generator, and that connection generator, you hit a button, and what pops up after you fill out your profile, and your profile is all about what you need, what you want, and what you have to offer. And that little button pops up 6 people whose profile fits what you've posted in your membership site. And and if it doesn't work, if you find it isn't a fit, you just move on. So kind of like that whole dating thing. I don't want to meet everybody that I don't want to date. I don't want to meet every business that I can't do business with or doesn't do business with me on it. And as a direct result of that, it's opened up this entire universe to me. I mean, I'm now doing business with a couple of the people that I met in Ireland on it, which I had never planned on doing that. And one of the ladies that are in the group has a product that's exactly the kind of thing that's needed in the marketplace. And as somebody that, and I'm getting it out there and allowing her the chance to put her offers and her expertise in a nationwide online newsletter, which we're launching next week. So I'm just kind of beginning a whole new universe. I spend less and less time doing my leadership and management training, which is my real passion. So, but I just made a decision in that year's time to say, I'm going to find out a way to spread my presence and availability in a whole different scope. And it's actually been one of the most enjoyable and pleasurable things that I've done in my lifetime. So I'm going to do what you suggest here and pop pardon me for looking away from you, but I'm going to put the little paste. Yeah, there it goes in there. And that is, let's see, hit the button here. I can really appreciate what you said, Brian. I never know what's going to happen with the next button that I hit. But so if you, there's a free, we actually have some free membership levels. There's several different levels in there, and you can come in, take a look at it, see what you think of it. There's some training in there. It's one of the most phenomenal things that I've ever seen. And I have a feeling that it's going to be a name that will be, we're really working at it, and it's what I was looking for. I don't have to, I love people, but I just can't talk to everybody that would like to talk to me, good or bad, I guess, on it. So you just click that link that goes to Be Connected on it, and you can see a free membership that you can get in. There's a certain number of connections you can make, stay there as long as you want, and there's 3 or 4 other levels above that. And we really have grown like crazy. We've been in business now for actually started the soft launch about last March or April on it, but the first true launch was in September. So I got a feeling that let's hope you can find something there. I mean, I would love to talk to you. So whether it's through Be Connected, I've also put my email address down there, and I love to talk to people. And Doreen, you and I don't know everybody else on there, but I'd love to talk to you about leadership. Of all the things that I can do, it is my sole passion in life. And it's driven me to, I never thought I would be online looking for who I could help in leadership. And so love to hear from you. Love to hear from anybody else that's interested in talking to my favorite topic. I think we've taken something that's relatively simple and made it turn it into an extremely complicated process. But in terms of the ability to scale your business, I have a hard time imagining anything else. As Jill says, it's all you got to be in front of the people that need what you have on it. And you can no longer go down the street like the world I lived in for 40 years, and knock on doors. And by the end of the day, you either had a customer or someone told you not to come back, and good luck with the rest of your life. But you kind of knew where you stand. Now we spend months just trying to figure out if we've got something to say to each other. So God bless all of you. And Brian, I thank you for inviting me on the show, and with a few more people that I'm bringing on board to do some of the administrative stuff, I'm hoping to be a larger participant in PSA.
All right. Thank you, Barney. We actually don't have any time for questions. So if you have any questions for Barney, go ahead and just contact him and just set up a one-to-one or something with him.
Yep. I'd love to talk to you. Thank you very much.
You bet. All right. So I want to introduce our next speaker. So our next speaker is Rex Sykes, and the title of his talk is Add Value and Win. Go the extra mile for them and you win. Set your business apart with excellent service and value. So I will turn the time to Rex. Oh, Rex, you're muted.
Now, if I could only do the same thing and have no sound come out of my mouth, it would be great. I appreciate the introduction, and I appreciate you and all the people and the speakers here. And with that introduction, I really don't have to say much of anything because the point has already been made. If you're in business today and you want to capture a larger share of the market because it benefits you to have a larger share of the market, then the way you do that is to serve the market the best you can. I have a principle, it's called go first. If you want somebody to listen to you, listen first. If you want somebody to respect you, respect them first. If you want somebody to care about what you care about them first, and then they have the opportunity to reciprocate. You can't push a rope. A horse can't be led. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. But what you can do is deliver such overwhelmingly wonderful, positive, powerful customer service and delight, and you can and support that the customers and the clients go, why would I ever go anywhere else? I am so loved and cared for right here. I am respected. I'm listened to. They meet my needs. I also say never make a promise that you can't fulfill. That's to yourself or to anybody else. If you say, tomorrow I'm going to get up and I'm going to clean my garage, then tomorrow get up and clean your garage. Don't break your promises to yourself, and don't break your promises to your family or your friends, and don't break your promises to your clients or your customers. Get known as a person who keeps your word. And the best way to keep your word to other people is keep your words to yourself. So if you say, I am going to do something, do it. The best way to truly win for yourself is to not overpromise yourself. Don't say things that you're not willing to do. If I get up and I say, I'm going to clean the entire garage tomorrow, well, that might be a daunting task. But if I go, you know what, I'm going to clean a portion of the garage. I'm going to spend 20 minutes. I'm just going to clean and see how far I get. Then do that 20 minutes or clean that portion of the garage. In the same way, if you make a promise to your client, you want to make sure that you can fulfill your promise. If, by the way, you tell somebody you're going to have a meeting at a certain hour or they're traveling to you to meet you, and you can't be there, you got to do everything you can, obviously, to contact them and let them know that you can't be there, that at that moment, for whatever reason, excuse me, you have to break your promise. You cannot keep your commitment. But if you get known for keeping your commitments And going first, what happens is your reputation precedes you, because word of mouth will get around that you are a person of your word. You keep your promises, you keep your commitments, you deliver incredible service, you go beyond all the others. And that, you can't buy that kind of advertising. You can't buy that kind of PR, because if a happy customer goes out and just, we all know this, you all know this, that a disgruntled customer or client or family member or friend will tell everybody that they're not satisfied. They'll write letters, they'll put it on Facebook, they'll push it on Twitter. Getting someone to sing your praises on Twitter or Facebook, social media, or call up a friend and go, hey, is a much harder, it's a much harder pursuit, but it can be done. But you have to think about it in the same way that, if I go see a movie or I go to a restaurant and I love it and I'm delighted by it, I'm going to tell everybody, I'm going to tell my friends, guys, you got to go see this movie. It's riveting, it's fun, it's funny, it's family, it's horror, it's whatever it is, but I loved it and you will too. Or the restaurant. Food is, incredible. It's out of this world. The service is beyond anything. It's exemplary. You will have the best time of your life. This is how you want people to respond to you. And the only way that they're going to respond to you is that if you are that way first. You deliver, and then they can reciprocate. And you can't hold them to reciprocating, because they may or may not. But when you do provide exemplary and you go beyond what anybody else is doing, if you can, because if you can't, obviously, you're going to have to figure out how. But if you can go beyond what the other people are doing and make offers that the other people can't make and deliver customer service the way others can't do it, then that's what you get known for. Then that's what spreads. And it will spread. Look at FedEx, right? We'll deliver it overnight kind of thing. They came up with a service that, is hard to beat. They've been pretty much a world leader ever since. So, excuse me, get known for being head and shoulders above the competition. That starts with your attitude about who you are and what you do. So you want to work on your own mindset, your own attitude, and realize I am the kind of person who can deliver. I am the kind of person who keeps my words. I'm the kind of person who's positive. And if there's a problem, I'll find a way to solve it for you to your satisfaction, because that's the kind of person I am. It's far easier to live a happy life in many ways than it is to live a sad or depressing or angry life. There's too many people focused on their circumstances or the things that are wrong in the world or things that's wrong in their country or what's not working. And that piles up and that adds stress, and you can't let that get to you. So the way to do it is withdraw from the circumstances, focus on you. Don't try and change your circumstances as much as you try and evolve yourself into somebody who will go the extra mile. I also work in the motion picture business, and I have since I was a teenager. I work as an actor, I produce and I direct as well. And one of the things is when we're going on a location and we're going to be, whether it's in the middle of New York City or it's out in the middle of nowhere, we have to put people up. Let's imagine that we're out in the middle of nowhere. We have to put people up, maybe in a tent encampment or trailer encampment or something like that, or even in a hotel. Excuse me. We got to put them up, and we have to eat meals with them. We work with them every day, and we work long hours, and those hours can be quite challenging. And the environment can be quite challenging. It's not all easy, and there are egos and tempers and everything like that. But when we're hiring cast and or crew, and or I'm being hired, one of the main concerns is do we want that person to be with us? Are they kind of the kind of person we'd like on a camping trip? Do they get along with everybody? Do they add value? Are they a team player? Do they go the extra mile? If there's unions which say, well, you can't move that because that's a different union's job. But in general, are they helpful? Would they be willing to move it, or they just go, that's not my job, get over it? Do they grumble? Do they complain? Do they whine? Are they off in the corner with a bunch of people talking about, oh, the director sucks, or the producer sucks, or this movie sucks, or whatever? You want people who are all on the same page, who are fun to be with, who are enjoyable to be with, who contribute to each other, who uplift each other, who go, it's kind of like being in a sports team. We're going to play a tough game. We got to all be in this together. We all got to be united. We got to be of one mind and one attitude. And the grumpy player is not going to get the ball much or be on the court much. So when you can develop yourself to really genuinely listen, really respect, really care and love your client and your customers because you genuinely care and love yourself, you have the best of both worlds. A lot of people don't like their clients because they aren't really happy with themselves, or their life sucks and they're trying to get something from their client. So I'm here to tell you, you can do anything when you get your attitude right and you get your mindset right and you put your heart in the right place and you then devote yourself to going above and beyond the service of that other people do. The people who succeed in businesses and get promotions are the people who come in early and stay late. In the motion picture business, if your call time is 7:30 a.m. and you show up at 7:30 a.m., you're already late. That will get you fired. You need to be there by 7 a.m. and then you're just barely early. And if you said, what, I'm sorry, I live in Los Angeles, I can't get there, the traffic, the 405 was backed up, they would, what we say? Bye. You should have left 4 hours earlier then. You know what LA traffic is like. It's your job to get where you're supposed to be on time, And so keep this in mind. You are your best or worst spokesperson when it comes to your business. You are the brand, essentially. You are the representative of everything that you want, the sales, the cash flow, the profits. So transform yourself into somebody who's wonderfully happy and positive and who does value people, value your customers and clients, and you will be handsomely rewarded. You truly will. That said, I'm Rex Sykes. I do have a free gift for you at my website. It's rexsykes.com, REXSIKES.com. If my name is spelled somewhere here. And you go there. I have a free audio program, a downloadable MP3 that I encourage you to get. It's called Your Biggest Problem and What to Do About It, and how you focus not on your problems, but on solutions, and how you make a difference in your life. But you go there, you get your free gifts. I've got other offerings, programs, and products. My book is Life on Your Terms, Create the Life You Want. It's available at Amazon. And I invite you to explore that as well. But decide to make a real difference in your life for yourself and for your family and for your friends and for your clients and customers. And when you make that decision and you take the responsibility and you hold yourself accountable for it, everything begins to transform. With that, I'm Rex Sykes. I've had a great time with you. Make your day fabulous and live beyond your dreams and your expectations and surprise and delight yourself with how good things actually can be.
All right. Are there any questions for Rex? So I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I liked what you were talking about, connecting with people, and it reminded me of I'd heard once that when you're hiring someone, that you should hire someone that you would be okay being stuck in an airport with for 8 hours or something. So that's kind of what
sounds like stellar advice, Brian.
Yeah. So anyway, what you said reminded me of that, and I think that is good advice.
Well, that's very cool. Here's if I can, I'll leave you with this very last thing, and I hope I'm not overstepping my time. A lot of people have the intent of selling things. For example, I have a quota. I have to sell these things. My intent is to sell you, for example, this marker or my car or whatever. And if that's the sole purpose, that's the outcome of the interaction. You're done once the sale has been made, and where the customer is where the real sale is made is if the customer comes back to you a second time. Anybody can buy something and walk away, but if they buy something and go, wow, that was really an incredible experience, I want to buy from this person again, especially if you offer things like subscription programs or other services, you want to get them back. So I always say, don't think in terms of your goal to sell, think in terms of your purpose. And your purpose should be, I want to connect with this person so much and add so much value to this person that whether they buy my product right now or not, whether they do my program or don't do my program right now, they will talk about me and come back to me forever and ever because they know I'm a trusted person and that their interests are in my heart. So with that, I'm wrapped.
All right. Thank you very much, Rex.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff that all of us can use. All right, so now it's time to move to our next speaker. And now we have Kevin Yoder coming up. So the self-image controls and regulates the temperature of everything we get in life. During his talk, he'll share what the self-image is, how it's developed, and how to alter it to accomplish your most elusive goals. So I will turn the time to Kevin.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me today. First, can I ask you, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. I am not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am. The I am, the self-concept, the ego ideal, the self-image is, in short, the sort of person I believe I am, the sort of person you believe you are, the sort of person we truly believe we all are. According to Maxwell Maltz, he was the author of this groundbreaking study and book, Psychocybernetics, in the 1960s. According to Maltz, the self-image was the greatest psychological breakthrough of the entire century. The reason is because in order to become more productive, create better results, earn more money, or to go past any current level, we must first change the image we hold of ourselves. You see, we have two images. First image is the one that we project to the outside world. It's what we see in the mirror. It's what you're seeing, what I see when my image reflects back to me in a Zoom. It's what I might put out there on Facebook to my friends if I'm not being authentic, and associates. The second image, this is the one we're talking about. This is deep down. It's the deep down self-image, what we are, who we are, what we're worth, how the entire world sees us. And our image will then have the world reflecting back to us. This is how important it is. You see, Maltz was a plastic surgeon, and he found that when he did surgery on a patient and removed something wrong with the face and repaired some disfiguration, there wasn't only a great change in their appearance, he noticed a great psychological improvement. He also discovered, however, that for some patients, regardless of how successful those physical appearances were and how successful the operation was, there was zero psychological change at all. Now, this led him to postulate that we actually have two images, not one. One that reflects back to us in the mirror, and then one we hold in our own mind. As the inner image is changed, the person's world changes. Our results are always a reflection of what's going on internally. And we will always be consistent with the image we hold of ourselves. Like a thermostat on the wall in our homes or businesses, our image controls and regulates the temperature of everything that we get in our lives. We can't outrun it. We can't outwill it. And like the thermostat in our home, in colder temperatures, if someone opens the front door and that cold air rushes in, the thermostat, and lowers the temperature of the room, the thermostat will pick up the deviation between the set temperature and the new temperature in the room, and it will send a signal to the furnace to kick on the fire and raise that temperature back up. That's how the self-image is in us. It'll regulate. It always regulates us back to our self-concept, who we really believe we are. For this reason, the self-image is actually the key to living a better life. So why is this the case? because of one word. That word is consistency. All of our actions, all of our feelings, all of our behavior, our abilities are always consistent, absolutely consistent, 100% of the time with the self-image. In short, we will always act like the sort of person we conceive ourselves to be. Not only this, but we literally cannot act otherwise for extended periods of time. In spite of conscious effort, in spite of working hard, in spite of willpower, hustle and hard work will only get us so far before the thermostat regulates us back to where we believe we belong. This is an inside job. There's a story of the guy who took the SAT, and he was notoriously a poor student. He got C's and D's. And when we went to take the SAT, he was attempting to cheat, but because of the way the seats were fashioned, he couldn't do so. He couldn't peek over his fellow student's shoulder. And somehow, some way, when he got the SAT scores back, he had scored in the top 5%. And when he got those results, he brought them back to his mother, who knew he was a poor student all the way through high school. She asked him, "Did you cheat?" He said, "No, mother, I didn't. I tried, but I couldn't." And so he began this new journey. He thought to himself, well, if this is the result, then this must be who I am. I must be smart. He went on to go to an Ivy League school. He furthermore, because he was beginning to act like that sort of person that would achieve such a high score in the SAT, furthermore, he started a highly successful business. About a decade later, after the results of that SAT, he got a letter in the mail from the study center, and they said that they did an audit of all the SATs during that period. Come to find out, he hadn't scored a high score after all. In fact, he scored exactly what he thought he might score, right in the middle, a C in terms of the actual score itself. So you see, the self-image is the premise and foundation upon which our entire personality, our behavior, and like in this story, our circumstances are built. A child who's told repeatedly he's not cut out for math will get the report card that proves this theory correct. And I just shared with you how it works the opposite as well. Salespeople or business people, the actual experiences prove the self-image is correct. You see, I guess that's the sort of person I am. And so my actions will follow that in business. How about a person who goes on a diet? How many times do we hear them finding the weight that they wanted to lose? Well, first off, we should never try to lose weight because we'll always find what we lose. But more importantly, a diet is a doing action solution to a inner being problem. It never went to the center. The image stayed intact. The ego ideal was protected by a hard exterior surface. All the dieting in the world won't help once the image is locked into, I'm the sort of person that. It's a difference between working on the circumference versus going right to the center. Jesus warned us about the folly of putting a patch of new material on an old garment or putting new wine into old bottles. And numerous experiments have shown us that once the concept of self is changed, other things consistent with this new concept are accomplished easily and without strain. The actions flow freely and easily because that's the sort of person I believe that I am. So how do we change the self-image? The self-image can be changed through a very specific process of habitual renewing of the mind through one powerful magical word, imagination. We can use our creative imagination to create mental images or pictures. And how does this work? Because the self-image prescribes the limit of any accomplishment or particular goal, the area of the possible. And so when you begin to act immediately like the person you want to be, basing that on the premise of people that you truly admire with those attributes that you'd love to embrace, a little from him, a little from her, a little more confident, a little better communicator, a little more empathy, a little more boldness, a little more tenacity, a little more grit. And you can lock those into your personality and begin to change from the inside. And in this way, you're playing a perfectly good trick on your subconscious mind where your self-image lies resident. I'll end with a quote from Albert Einstein on the imagination. He said it's everything. Imagination is everything. It's the preview of life's coming attractions. He believed that the imagination was more important than knowledge. If I'm not who I think I am, and I'm not who you think I am, but in fact, I am who you think I am who I think you think I am, then in order to create a better future, decide who it is you want to be and start being now. Thank you.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for Kevin? No questions. Well,
I do. I don't have a question. I just want to say bravo, brilliant, wonderful. This is Rex. I'm sitting.
Hey, Rex, thank you.
No, really, Malt's work is incredibly powerful and necessary work, and he was head and shoulders above so many people so many years ago, and to keep it alive and to keep it vital for people today, bravo, my hat's off to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rex. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Really do. Thank you.
Wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
So Kevin, I really like that story about the the guy taking the ACT and then thinking that he had done much better than he did. I mean, it just really emphasizes to me how important it is that teachers, give kids that positive image of themselves. Like I remember my first grade teacher putting me in the middle reading group. There was 3 groups, and I was put in the middle. And I told myself, "Oh, I'm an average reader. I'll always be an average reader." It wasn't until like 6th grade when the teacher said, "Hey, you can read at whatever level you want," that I actually moved up and was reading past my grade level.
Yeah, that's called the report card syndrome.
Yeah.
The report card doesn't tell us how intelligent we are. It tells us how well we performed in a test last week. That's simply it. And a lot of times it is those moments where the teacher or the professor installs in the student their belief in them, that they adopt that and then begin to outpicture that new image in their work. It's exactly how it works.
Yeah, and I heard another story about a teacher that she saw what she thought were IQ scores for her kids, and because of that, she treated them like, "Oh wow, these are really gifted kids." Come to find out that they weren't IQ scores; they were locker numbers. They were the lockers that the kids had. But it changed the way those kids performed, just because of the way she thought of them.
That's it. And it's reinforced. And, there's story after story after story, how when there is a certain standard created it is all about how you're thinking about that standard. If you believe that you are, it will outpicture itself. The gal who told the story of when she started in public speaking, and her goal was to sell from the stage and to get a certain amount of a percentage of people to go to the back of the room afterwards and sign up for the program. Well, she thought he said 80% is the rate you should strive for. And so after 6 months, she met with her mentor and she said, I can't seem to get there. I'm just not doing what you told me to do. I'm only hitting 78%. And I'm just doing everything in my power. And he said, I'm sorry, what? She said, yeah, I can't get to 80. He said, I didn't say 80, I said 18. There it is. There it is.
And Kevin, the last comment I'd make, it reminds me of As a Man Thinketh by John Allen, that as a man thinketh, so is he. So that is a universal age-old truth that I think you spoke to today.
That's it. Yes, Edward, thank you. That's exactly right. In short, we become who we think we are. We'll outpicture that. And I'm in a position in real estate and coaching salespeople all over the world and other entrepreneurs, and it takes about 30 seconds to figure out what's at play. It's the image. It's the image we hold of ourselves. And fortunately, there is a very specific formula by which we can improve that. And hopefully, I've outlined that for you today, so it's clear.
Yes. Thanks, Kevin. And we're
Thank
over
you.
time.
Oh yeah, Doreen.
Real quick.
Have you ever had to bring someone's self-image into play? In other words, let them know that they think too much of themselves?
So was the question, how do you do that?
Sure.
No, I'm sorry. I want to make sure I heard you correctly.
Yes. So how do you bring somebody into line if they think they're too good?
Sure.
Or too
So
better
here,
than
this is an interesting question. I don't know how much time we have, Brian, but this is
Actually, we're over time.
Okay, so I'll be super short. That is not usually a problem, and the reason why is 95% of the time, this is the ego. People talk about people with a big ego. Essentially, they're hurting inside, so they lash out, or they puff themselves to be bigger than what they really are inside. So actually, those that even seem to have an ego trip or they're egotistical, they're just hurting inside. And this is how they project outwardly to puff up their feathers so that no one knows what's going on. That's how I'd respond to that. You're welcome.
Thanks.
Great question.
All right. Well, yeah, it's time to move on and introduce our next speaker. All right. So Stephanie Lueris is our next speaker, and she is going to speak on the empty cup syndrome. In a world of givers and being of service and putting everyone else first, let's talk about why putting ourselves first is about the other guy. So I present to you Stephanie Lueris, and take it away.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, heck, good evening, wherever you are. I am always excited to be here, and I wanted to tell you a little story this morning. As I looked at our topic this month for our virtual summit, I was taken aback a little bit because I thought about how not only my life has changed, but how the message of putting everyone before ourselves can be sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes a toxic message. You know, you may have heard the adage before that you can't pour from an empty cup. We have to take care of ourselves before we can serve others in whatever capacity that is. Whether we're serving in our communities, serving through our businesses, serving through our speaking, whatever capacity that is that you serve in, you need to be fulfilled in life to be able to adequately come and to serve others. And as I sat back and really thought about this over the last couple of weeks, it brought me back to my previous career, where I spent almost 20 years just working harder and harder and harder, putting everybody else first, because that was the culture of the environment that I was in. You pour everything of yourself into the people you're serving in various capacities, and you're left behind drained and empty. But that service is supposed to fuel you in some way. But through all of that pouring myself into other people, I reached the point where I was emotionally unhealthy because I was not dealing with my own baggage. I have PTSD. I had some underlying eating disorder issues that were still unresolved. My spiritual life was very stagnant, and I wasn't growing in that. And the biggest indicator that I had that empty cup was that physical health. I was well over 400 pounds. I was probably pretty close to losing my mobility, but I was still pushing to serve those around me. And when I had the realization that something had to change, it wasn't going to be the diets and everything else, but that it was going to be taking care of myself first, that's where things dramatically changed. I've lost over 200 pounds without dieting, which blows people's minds. But it's that looking at the food I'm putting in my body, feeding that intuitive hunger that we have, really paying attention to those hunger cues, becoming active. And that activity at first was just walking to the end of the street and back, because that's all I was physically able to do. Now it's to the point where I'm training in endurance sports, getting ready to do a full Ironman the end of this year, something I never imagined for myself. But through that process of really starting to work on myself, to fill myself, I became more productive in serving those around me, in fulfilling the needs of all the different hats I wore. But the problem was that while I was now running circles around, literally and figuratively, around my former self, I was still working 80 hours a week. I was still in this toxic culture. And I had feedback from the upper management within this structure coming back to me and saying, you're spending too much time putting yourself first. You're doing this at the detriment of serving other people. And so I stepped back and I said, you look at the difference. Look at how I am not tired, that I'm showing up present, that I'm more efficient, I'm getting things done. The 80 hours that I'm putting in a week are twice as productive as they were before, when I was sitting in my office miserable. I went to even down to the point of starting to track the minutes in a day, and came back and showed that it was 4% of my day that was being spent on that self-care, that filling of my cup to serve others, so that I was ready for the battle. And so I encourage you that as you go forward, that as you think about this idea of it's about everyone else, that we put others first, that it's about the service of others, that we really look at, are we ready? Are we fully present? Are we engaged? And are we physically able to handle serving at that full capacity, or are we just going through the motions? And it all starts with one tiny step. What is the one thing that you can do today in order to improve that self-care? Those things that you identify might be a little bit lacking. And I'd love to hear at some point, whether we don't have time today, but comments when this gets posted later and things, what is that one thing that you need to spend a little bit more time on so that you're ready to better serve? And I thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for taking this slant. When I came up with the topic of It's About Them, I was thinking of my coaching career and my speaking career, and how anytime I start thinking about myself, then that's when things go sideways. That's when I get nervous. I do stupid things. I say stupid things, and I just have to remember, I'm doing this for them. But I totally agree with you that self-care is extremely important, because if we can't take care of ourselves, then we can't take care of our clients who we're trying to serve.
Absolutely.
So does anyone have any other questions, comments?
Stephanie, I love that, and I love your share. So thank you for sharing that. I think we always talk about giving in service to others. I just read the Go Giver in the past 2 weeks, and so this was speaking to me today, and I thought back to what I was experiencing when I was reading that book and running it through that filter and realizing that people say you're being selfish. Well, you have to be, to the extent, because if we can't take care of ourselves, it's like like they say, if an airplane's going down, what's the first thing they tell you? Mm-hmm. Grab the air mask, get your own air going first, then you can help other people. I think that's what you're saying, if we were to use an analogy.
Absolutely. 100%. And sometimes we get to that point where we realize, in the midst of that service for others, that we don't lose that servant's heart. We don't lose that drive to serve others, but maybe we need to change gears. Because for me, I had to leave that position altogether, something I had dedicated my entire life to for a very long time, restart my entire life, and left everything behind. And it was one of the hardest and most courageous things I ever had to make the decision to do. But it was also coming deeper into that place of serving others in a very succinct way.
All right. Anyone else? If not, we can go ahead and move on to our next speaker, unless there's someone else that wants to say something. Nope. All right. So it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Edward Jones. He is. Oh, I can't say it the way he does it. You may know Edward Jones, but he's not the Edward Jones that you're thinking of. I'll let him introduce himself that way. Anyway, so his talk is entitled "Coaching Magic Revealed." Many people are stuck in patterns that no longer serve them. Through active listening, appropriate questioning, and forward thinking, a coach helps clients bring out what is within them. It's what the Wizard of Oz did for the Tin Man, Scarecrow, Lion, and Dorothy. All right, so I present to you Edward Jones. Take it away.
Thank you, Brian. My screen is, so everybody's frozen on my screen. So can you see me? Am I moving?
Yes.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just pretend that I can see myself and see all of you moving as well. I have attended a lot of summits, or not a lot, but a few, and I've always enjoyed the speakers as I did today. And this time I decided it's time for me to get off the sideline and get in the game. Most of you may know each other, but you don't know me. So today I want to tell you who I am, tell you what I did, and what I'm doing now. Who I am, I'm a father, grandfather. I love music. I exercise, meditate every day. So that's a little bit about who I am. What I did was I was a university administrator and a credit union board executive. So that's what I did. But today I am the Edward Jones, not that Edward Jones, the finance guy. I'm also a speaker, blogger, podcast host, and wait for it, author. I'm going to briefly go over those 5 things so you have a better idea of who I am so I can be a part of you. Some of you talked about the people you want to be with is somebody you could be in a cave with in an airplane. I want to be that person for you all. So hopefully this introduction will help you know more about me, and maybe we could spend that time, not 8 hours in a cave, but somewhere where we could enjoy coffee or something like that. First of all, coaching. How I got into coaching. It's 3 things: currency, it's conversations, and capability. When I talk about currency, and some of you have talked about this too, there is performance currency and relational currency. When I started out, I thought about performance currency. Do a good job, you'll move up and everything will work out just fine for you. Well, I found out the hard way that that's not always the case. So I learned that I need to work on my relational currency. And that's the thing that really, really works. Performance currency is also important, but you've got to get those relationships together. The second reason I became a coach was conversations. A lot of people would tell me about the problems they had with a boss, with a coworker, or whoever it might be. I would give empathy and nod and that sort of thing and be that sounding board, but that was basically it. But then I found out about being capable, how I could actually help people. And I found that out through one of my former staff. When she moved to another job, she asked me to come out, work with her staff, and do some things with her that would help them become better. And I said, and she said, you should be a life coach. I didn't know what a life coach was. She said, well, they talk to people and help people. I said, they pay you for talking to people? And she said, yes, they do. And I said, well, what was it? She said that you help us make decisions for ourselves. You didn't tell us what to do, but you gave us the options and guided us through a thought process to help us help ourselves. So that way I was capable of helping people. And it's the same thing that is like that Wizard of Oz. When the people went to Oz, the Scarecrow wanted a brain. He had a brain. The Tin Man wanted a heart. He had a heart. The Cowardly Lion wanted courage. He had courage. And Dorothy only had to click her heels 3 times to be home. Everything they were looking for was within them. That thought of Oz just brought it out. The answers to your questions are already inside. Sometimes you're stuck with someone has to help you see your way out of the maze or reflect so you can see how you look. That is the magic of coaching. Now, when I became a certified coach, I was told that one of the best ways to get clients is to speak. So I joined Toastmasters. And I thought if I speak, I can get that message out to people, how I can help them help themselves. That broader message could reach a lot more people. And those who needed it would come on their own. Because like Rex was saying, it's service. It's what you're looking for, what you can give to other people that makes all the difference in the world. Not what you get, but what you give. And when I thought about those people in work situations that were miserable, that hated to go to work every day, that they've got anxiety on Sunday night when they thought about it. And I thought, if I can let those people know that help is on the way, then that would be a service that I could provide. I don't need to do it, but this is something that I want to do. My former jobs chose me. I chose coaching, and I wanted to share that from the stage. From there, speaking, and I joined PSA. And I was talking with Jason, and we were working on my signature talk. He'd gone to my website, and he saw a number of things, and he saw the word blog. He clicked on it, and there was nothing there. And he said, "Why do you have blog on there? I don't see anything there." He said, "You need to do one of two things. Either start writing or get rid of it." So on June 22nd, 2020, I submitted my first blog. The blogging helped, again, to share my message, but also it helped me to get inside of me and say, what can I say that will help people? So I write my blog every Tuesday, published on Wednesday. It's on my website, ProDestinyCoaching.com. So if you want to check it out, please do so. This week's edition was giving and receiving feedback. Sounds simple, but it becomes difficult because the emotion attached to it. So I'd like you to take a look at it. I asked some questions at the end, and hopefully we can create a dialogue through that blog. It can also be found on LinkedIn and Facebook. That led me to podcasting. Lawana Parker is my mentor of sorts, and she basically talked about podcasting because I like to talk, as you could probably tell. So she got me into podcasting, and so I do that at least once a week. My podcast is WRM, Work Relationships Matter. With that, I have guests come on, and they talk about how they got into what they're doing, the obstacles that they faced, and how they overcame them. Through that podcast, the listeners can hear how to deal with issues that may be troubling them. They know that they're not alone, that someone else has gone through what they've gone through, and there's someone they can tap into who can help them work through a situation. My motto is, work relationships work for those who work on them. You have to work at it. It doesn't just happen. You have to take that focus. You have to do like Kevin said and look at inside. What's inside of me that will help me grow, that maybe help me help someone else. So if you want to be a part of that podcast, I'd love to have you because people need to hear your message. One of the things that I did right out of the chute when I became a coach was write this book, and that is creating win-win work relationships. Sometimes you have a win-lose or a lose-win, but everybody grows. Productivity, personal relationships grow when we think win-win. Stephen Covey is one of my, I guess he's my guru. I've been following him since 1989 when he put out his first book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Those principles are just as relevant today as they were then. He mainly had a message of win-win. When we talk about win-win, I want win-win with you and me. If we have different areas where we can share and become referral partners, I think that would be one way that we can help each other help people. The magic of coaching is bringing out what's in people and help them to be better than what they are today. Brian, I thank you for this opportunity, and I thank all of you who spoke today for your insight and for those who listened. turn it back over to you, Brian.
All right. Thank you, Edward. Does anyone have any questions, comments, jokes?
I'd like to be in touch. Can you post it to the chat, please?
Sure.
Or-
So, Edward, tell me a little bit more about your podcast. Is it, I'm sorry, is it your podcast or are you a guest?
No, it's my podcast,
It's yours.
and it's called WRM, Work Relationships Matter, and it's through Raven Media Productions, and so I started actually on March the 26th. So if you're interested, I'm going to put my website and my in there, and so I'm not sure exactly when they're going to drop, as the music people say, but I could let you know that, and it will be on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and a couple of other places. But it is my website, and it's called Work Relationships Matter.
Okay.
And it's that opportunity to share insights, strategies, and things that have worked for you that our listeners could take advantage of.
And do you have any tips or anything on, or for someone who is maybe thinking of starting their own podcast?
Well, what I could do is the people that work with me, for me, it's good to have somebody who does this for a living, because at first I was going to do it on my own and try to, how do I get to the different media to get it out there? So I have a company that I work with, and there are other companies out there, but that would be the way that I would do it, is just work with a company. You can do the content, let them do all the technology and the marketing and that sort of thing.
All right. So then that, like, they coach you and you pay them to help you with that and to do all the production work?
Yeah, you do. You do pay them to do that other thing of it, and they do coach you because they have a training program that they use, and so you get all the tools you need, how to contact potential podcast guests, and then it's just a matter of doing it. And like anything, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And sometimes I look at my tapes and, oh my goodness, and then the next one's a little bit better. So that's the thing that I look at. You get the training so you know what you're supposed to do, and nothing beats practice, the reps, getting the reps in.
All right. Very good. Is there anyone else that has a question or anything for Edward?
And this is not a question for me, but no, this will be taped because this is my first rodeo. So I'm just learning as I'm going here today.
Yes.
So this will be taped so we can look at this later and I can see how I looked for the first time and know what I need to improve.
Yes, we're recording right now.
Okay.
All right. Well, our next speaker looks like he's popped in. So let me make some adjustments here. All right. So I will be introducing I want to introduce our last speaker. And our last speaker for today is Andres Baneth. And he's coming to us from Brussels. And he is the owner of Speaker Hub. So I've asked him to come on and talk about Speaker Hub and talk about our partnership and how all of us can benefit from Speaker Hub. So Andres, take it away.
Yeah, I've got a little helper here, as you can see. So because it's evening and there's no school day today and babysitter is out. So that's the sign of the times. But thanks so much for the opportunity to be here. And I wanted to say a few words about Speaker Hub, where the PSA members get the benefit of being members and listed on Speaker Hub. So, and you even get an upgrade to a silver level. And that's a kind of benefit that should be helpful for everyone, and it gives you exposure. And it's a kind of exposure that should help you land new speaking opportunities. So we have a database of several thousands of speaking opportunities, of course, for speakers that we publish every week. And we alert members about these opportunities based on your profile. So based on the speaker profile you set up for yourself, you get alerted about the opportunities that are out there based on your expertise, geographic preference, fee preference, and all other factors. So that's something that we've been working with PSA for some time, and we're sort of relaunching it and refreshing it with Brian. So that should be helpful. Now, in terms of what gets you noticed, I think it's on everyone's mind, and I'm sure it's something that you've been looking at from different angles. Now we have a wealth of resources on speakerhub.com. So on the main website, it's called Skill Camp. So you can check that out. And as a member, you can get access to almost all the articles. So those concern how to make your profile more visible, how to negotiate your fees, how to run virtual events, and many, many other aspects. So both technical and the business side of speaking. So that's really it in a nutshell. And of course, I could talk more at length about any of this. Just perhaps ask questions, or Brian, you might want to lead me as to what topics I should cover before my little helper has interrupts me again. Please.
All right. So it's safe to say that if you don't fill out your profile, nothing will happen. Correct? Yeah,
that's a pretty clear thing. Now, certainly, it's just, I think the number one rule is think with an organizer's head. If you were to put on an event, and you might be actually organizing some events yourself and not just be a speaker, but putting on an event, how would you pick a speaker? What would be the factors that impact or influence your decision to hire or not hire someone? Now, if it's just a name and barely any information visible, certainly that's not going to be an attractive profile, because there's no trust in that person's expertise and their speaking ability. And I think these are the two core tenets of any robust profile, of proving your expertise and then showcasing that you're a good public speaker. And once you have that, provided, of course, that the fees and the logistics and the calendar scheduling work out, then it can be a match.
All right. So as members of Public Speakers Association, or PSA, everyone has a silver level profile or a subscription, correct?
That's correct, yes.
So what should our members do that don't even realize they have this benefit? Where should they go? How do they get set up?
Yeah, so normally those who've been longtime members should already have a profile based on prior correspondence, and we may have assisted that person in setting up their profile. If they don't, it's probably a question of a workflow of you and I working it out, or a member of yours contacting us, and then my assistant helping them create a profile and adjust the proper profile upgrades. So either through you or directly to me, and we'll make it happen.
All right, very good. Anyone else have any questions for Andres?
Thanks, Andres. So I have my app pulled up and, loaded a few speeches on there. I mean, is there anything else I could be doing right now? It's so silver. My photo's in place. I've got, summary, but I've never experienced any interaction or engagement as a result of having this. And I'll take full ownership, but it would be based on a matter of ignorance. So please enlighten me if there's something you think that, I mean, I have it, it's here, it's out there in the world. Yeah. But just like a website, it can be the best damn website in the world, but if no one knows about it, it's like a billboard in the desert. So what can I do to make this not a billboard in the desert?
Yeah. Well, I think many speakers do the mistake of waiting for inbound requests to come in, and they can and do come in occasionally, but I think it's really being proactive about it. So it's looking at the opportunities that we list, and even if it's a broad match, using your creativity and say, okay, how could I pitch myself as a speaker for this particular event? Because I give you an example, and without knowing anything about your profile, and I have not quickly pulled it up yet, but let's say if you speak about leadership, that's a topic that you can pitch to a virtual summit on automotive parts, like the most technical of subjects. Even there, they might need certain topics, and they want to hear about that. So it's creatively repackaging your speech, your topics, your expertise, and then really pitching it to event planners, and thinking with their head, saying, how can I convince them? What could be those 3, 5, 7 points where they would push back and say, okay, I'm not sure that this is a good fit, and say, okay, how can I proactively address those things? Is it the fee? Might they be skeptical about my credentials? Is it something about my show reel, if there's a show reel, or just a video that you might put online, and then addressing it up front. Now, we're happy to take a look at your profile. So through Brian or directly through the website, you send a message and just flag it that it should be sent to me. Then we're happy to take a look and say, okay, what are the couple of things we might spot that could be changed or reworded or improved? So you're welcome to send it over.
Super. Okay, great. Thank you. Is now where again, can you remind me, is this an email that comes through with speaking opportunities? Is that where we're getting those primarily?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
With pleasure.
All right. Is there anyone else that has anything? Doreen, go ahead.
How long should the video be, the sample that you would upload on the profile?
Sorry, say again? I couldn't hear you well.
How long should the video be, the sample or the example that you would give?
I don't think there's any fixed duration or fixed length for a video of that kind, but I think if it's below 2 minutes, that's just fine. So I don't think you should feel any obligation to have a longer video up there. It could be, if it's like an edited version of you being on stage or in a virtual setting or Zoom calls or whatnot, and maybe there's it's like a show reel with some music or with an intro, so it's kind of packaged. I think a relatively short one works great. Now, if it's a specific speech or something that you really want to showcase, and it's on one subject, and it's an example more than a show reel, then it can, of course, be longer. But I think organizers, they just really want to get a feel for your speaking abilities and how you come across on stage or on screen these days. So I know it's hard to say any specific number how long, but I think it's more important what your purpose is with a given video.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, if there's no other questions, then we'll thank Andres for taking time out from his family and I know it's night there, so he's probably got a kid to put to bed and all that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So
appreciate being here. Thanks, Brian, and thanks everyone.
yes, thank you.
Thank you. To be continued.
Thank you. Nice
Bye.
to meet you.
Nice meeting
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Well, we thank you for being here for our virtual summit, and we will see you in in another summit next month or soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it, everyone. Thanks, Brian.
Bye-bye.
Nice to meet everyone. Bye.